Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Kari's Confessions, a nonprofit exec tells all. I'm Kari Anderson, your host and principal with Incite Consulting. My podcast explores the tools and strategies that help nonprofit leaders grow their impact and build resilient organizations. As always, I'm here to share some hard-earned lessons and honest truths from life inside the nonprofit world. I spent 25 plus years in the nonprofit sector in leadership roles with 7 organizations. Now I provide coaching and consulting services to ensure that nonprofits, like yours, have the structure, systems, and practices to do their best work. Wherever I go, I continue to hear that nonprofit execs need a space to gather, to receive tools, feedback, and advice that encourages them to stay the course. It doesn't matter if you're in a village of 182 or a metropolis of millions, nonprofit work is both gratifying and lonely. I'm here to make sure that you have a chance to breathe, laugh, smirk, and get excited again about the important work that you do. So today's topic is about activating your board and giving you a 30-day fundraising sprint that actually works. But before I do that, it's time for confessions. If your board is supportive, but not exactly fundraising active, you're not failing. And your board isn't lazy, selfish, or secretly hoping the organization collapses so they can stop coming to meetings. What they are is actually unsure, worried they'll do it wrong, and quietly hoping staff will just handle it. And honestly, that's not a character flaw, it's a systems problem. So today, I want to walk you through something I use with nonprofit leaders all the time. A 30-day board fundraising sprint that activates board directors without guilt, shame, or forcing everyone to be a closer. So, no more arm twisting. No, everyone must make an ask. No awkward board meetings where everyone stares at the table. Just clarity, momentum, and measurable movement in 30 days, sometimes less. So, first things first, let's talk about why most boards stay passive with regard to fundraising or fund development activities and why it's not personal. So, let's name the thing we don't always say out loud. When board fundraising isn't working, it's tempting to think they just don't care. But that's almost never true. What I see instead are boards stuck because of 3 very fixable things. 1, unclear expectations. 2, fear of asking. And 3, no simple system. It's not apathy. Most board directors were never given a fundraising job description. In fact, probably most of you, when recruiting board directors, aren't talking about the fact that this is a requirement for boards. These board directors were just told help with fundraising and then, left to guess what that actually meant. Many have had a bad experience with the ask, like being handed a list of names and told, go get money, with no training or support. And many board directors genuinely don't feel confident explaining your impact, so they avoid opening doors at all. So before we go any further, here's a quick self-check for you. Question 1, how many of your board directors can explain your fundraising plan in one clear sentence? Folks, I led 7 organizations, and I don't think a 1 of my board directors could. So if the answer is not many, then passivity is predictable, right? It's not personal. So let's define what active, in terms of active board engagement with fundraising, really means. Another confession. An active fundraising board is not a board where everyone solicits major gifts, although that's a lovely Narnia state, right, to move towards. An active board is one where board directors consistently do relationship building behaviors like making introductions, following up after meetings, hosting a small gathering, inviting someone to tour your programs, thanking donors with calls, notes, and texts, sharing impact stories in their own words. Those are fundraising actions, and often they move money faster than a clumsy, premature ask. So the tone of this sprint matters. This is not about guilt. It's about skill building and confidence. So I want you to meet your board's real need, and that is they need to be herded. I often joke that my real job title is nonprofit wrangler, board border collie, professional people herder. And listen, it's funny because it's true. Boards aren't managed by memos. They're herded through clarity, structure, and encouragement, especially around fundraising. That's the core mindset here. Board activation is behavior design, not motivation speeches, not please care more, but instead small actions, clear lanes, fast feedback, simple tools, steady support, lower the friction, raise the clarity. Participation follows. So I've had clients ask me why a 30-day sprint actually works. A sprint works because it's short, urgency without burnout, it's clear, everyone knows what progress looks like, it's supported, staff prepares tools and follow-up, it's doable, minimum participation is built in, and in 30 days, you can generate real movement. What does that look like? New names in your donor pipeline. Dormant relationships can be reactivated. Meetings scheduled, asks made by the right people, and a visible cultural shift around fundraising. Not everyone will ask, and they don't have to. But before day one, let's set the rules of engagement for this 30-day sprint. You don't need a 20-page memo on this. You need a 1 page of clarity. Create a 1-page board fundraising agreement that includes the following: the purpose of the sprint, the time commitment, what counts as participation, a communication rhythm, and a clear no shame norm. Spell out examples of real actions like I made 2 introductions, I hosted a small gathering, I made 3 thank you calls, I joined a meeting to support the relationship, not the pitch. This matters more than you think. So make sure you also give board directors lanes, and this helps to reduce anxiety fast. Have each board director choose at least one role. Are they a connector? Right? They're great at making introductions. Are they an ambassador? They host or attend events, tours, and visits. Are they an advocate? They tell stories. They help to build credibility. Are they an asker? They participate in solicitations, often with staff. Everyone picks one. Some pick 2. Only a few need to be an asker. Lanes lower fear. Fear is the real blocker, not I don't want to fundraise. So pick a clear sprint goal. Choose one primary goal, maybe one secondary. Here are some examples. 40 new names added to the pipeline, 12 meetings scheduled, 6 asks completed, or a dollars goal tied to a campaign milestone. Ambitious enough to create urgency, realistic enough to hit with consistent action. So your job staff is to build a sprint kit that your board will actually use. This is where most nonprofits overcomplicate things. Your sprint kit should be lean. 1 shared folder. This means board directors actually have to get onto Dropbox or Google. Essentials only. This could include a 30-second mission script, a 2-minute impact story, a 1-page case for support, email intro templates, meeting request templates, thank you scripts. Remember, executive directors, your job is to support the board. This is what that support looks like. We also want to include a short objection cheat sheet. Make it phone friendly. If it's not easy, it won't get used. And define 3 to 4 clear funding offers. Concrete offers create confident conversations. So there's a 30-day arc, right? This is what this looks like in terms of flow. Week 1, talk through clarity, list names, and the first outreach. Week 2, conversations and meetings. Week 3, asks or clean handoffs. Week 4, follow-up, gratitude, lock in a 90-day rhythm. And a minimum participation standard. 2 actions per week per board member. That's it. So week 1, let's look about what success could look like. We want to do the first outreach together. This part is non-negotiable. If you end the kickoff meeting with, go do outreach this week, it won't happen. End it with, instead, let's send the first 3 messages right now. texts, emails, simple reconnects, no ask. Momentum loves immediacy. So week 2 and 3 conversations, then clean asks. Teach a simple conversation flow. Curiosity, mission, impact, invitation, not a pitch, a relationship with direction. And when it's time to ask, use what I call the ask triangle. Board director brings the relationship. Staff brings the details. A clear offer brings confidence. That's where the magic happens. And if a board director won't ask, that's fine, as long as the handoff is clean. No, here's a name, good luck. Week 4, right? Follow up. The fortune's in the follow up, and thank like you mean it. This is where trust compounds. Every conversation gets a next step within 48 hours, no exceptions. That means you, staff member with time management issues. This also gives board directors easy stewardship roles, like short thank you calls, handwritten notes, impact follow-ups. Gratitude is not a nicety, it is a retention strategy. So here are 5 board-friendly fundraising plays with no cold asking. Did you hear me? No cold asking ever. So quick hits, 2 introductions a month, host a small gathering, invite someone on a tour, share an impact story, make thank you calls. Everyone could do something. So let's flip this. There's things that will quietly kill your sprint. Watch out for these. No clear goal, too many tools, staff doing everything, no follow-up, and no follow-up discipline in particular, only celebrating dollars. If you only celebrate money, you teach the board that relationships don't count. Then they stop. And relationships are the holy grail of nonprofits. So how are you going to measure success beyond dollars? We want to track inputs and outputs. Inputs look like intros, conversations, meetings, thank yous. Outputs look like asks, commitments, proposals, tours, new recurring donors. Inputs are leading indicators. If they rise, revenue usually follows. So as we wrap up today, the real shift we're making isn't that everyone asks. The shift is from passive attendance to active relationship building. Clarify roles, do outreach together, make clean asks or handoffs, follow up fast, thank like you mean it, lock in a rhythm. And if your board needs a little people herding, that's not a failure, that's leadership. So appoint a board captain. Ideally, this would be your fund development committee chair. Pick a sprint goal, schedule the kickoff, and spend the next 3 messages together. Your fundraising plan doesn't need more pressure. It needs a system your board can actually use. And that's today's confession. Thanks for joining me today for Kari's Confessions, a nonprofit exec tells all. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a colleague or fellow board director. Make sure to follow me on your favorite streaming platforms, and for additional resources and tools, follow me on LinkedIn. You can also check out my website at inciteconsultinggroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.